we have got a lot to talk about today. But first, let me mention that I forgot to mention last time, TCG Pocket has this new limited time set coming out where inside each pack is guaranteed one 4-diamond card, one EX card from the previous sets. Now, I don't remember up to which set it could have, but that's a pretty big deal. And it's a limited time. This is my moment to shine. I have been saving all of my hourglasses for a rainy day, for a special occasion that I thought would never come. But now, my moment has come. You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself. Hold on, I sent the screenshot to my friends when the news came out, so when I sent that screenshot, I had 2,152 hourglasses. And you only need 120 to open 10 packs? This is what I've been saving my hourglasses for. And so I glowed it to all my friends. All you motherfuckers been telling me to just use them. Well, ha! Joke's on all of you. I'm ready. I'm ready for this moment. You see, kids, it does reward to hoard things. No, kids, don't learn that lesson. And also, I got a shiny Eevee in Pokemon Go today. Neat. Tonight, I was originally supposed to go out for dinner, but then we canceled that. But it's okay. I got 2 other dinners to attend later this week. One with my grandpa and relatives, and the other, I think, with my sister's husband's family, if I'm not wrong. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to the dentist. Now that my family has dental insurance, my mom wants us to use it up. So tomorrow, I'm going in the morning to the dentist to get a cleaning. I am not excited for that. The last time I got a cleaning at the dentist, that shit hurt like a motherfucker. And then I was not able to, comfortably chew solid foods for like a day and a half. So tomorrow I am preparing myself to enjoy all of my meals liquid form. Because, they use that super high pressure water to spray in between all your gaps to get rid of any sort of tartar and buildup that's been, building up. Yeah, that shit hurt. That shit hurt a whole lot. And then all your gums, like all the perimeters of your gum connected to the teeth are all red and cut. And that's why it hurts so much, because everywhere is cut up and swollen. Yeah, I'm not excited for that. And wow, what a day to start my day. What a way to start my day, because that's going to be 11 in the morning tomorrow. Which means I got to get up early to get there. Ain't that fun? I just hope they don't knock out my baby teeth. Because yes, I still have 2 baby teeth. Adult teeth just never grew in those spots. Alright, we have so much to talk about today. Let's just dive right in. Why can't this Giratina just be shiny? Alright, so last night was the premiere of Daryl Dixon Season 3, Episode 4. This episode was kind of crazy. It was split up into two major parts. First half of the episode was one primary storyline, and then the second half was another. How naive I was when I was watching this, because I kind of thought the entire episode would be the storyline that was the first half. So the episode opens up with Daryl and Roberto back at Solaz. What the hell was this place called again? Oh, so many Spanish names. I'm gonna mess up all of them. Hold on, let me see. What was the name of it? What was the name of it again? Oh yeah. So Daryl and Roberto have returned to Solaz del Mar. We also see Daryl. He is reflecting back on his childhood. Once again, we see small little snippets of Daryl in his trailer home, running away from his abusive father. Throughout these episodes, we've only gotten small, and I mean very small little clips. I wonder what this is going to build towards. Are we going to get a nice, long flashback scene in the last episode? Or, like, what's the relevance of this to the plot? I wonder if we'll see a young Merle. Because we learned in the original Walking Dead show that Merle left, leaving Daryl with their abusive father. But I don't think it's that point yet, you know? I think Merle was probably much older when he left. So anyways, Roberto is furious at Fede. He demands to speak with Fede about why Justine volunteered and left. But Fede refuses to speak to Roberto. Instead, Fede's like top two men meet him at the door, and they have beef. They are not friendly. And we see that reflected a little bit later in the episode. This was a long episode, by the way. So yeah. Our characters, they begin to leave to work on the boat. Yeah, pretty much. They go and fix up Daryl's boat. Obviously, Roberto is pretty down. He's pretty upset that Justine is gone. You know, he doesn't know if she's dead or alive. For all he knows, he's gone. What? For all he knows, she's gone and probably not ever coming back. Alright, so we get a pretty long montage of everyone just working on the boat. The lady we met in the first episode and her people, Daryl and Carol, are working on the boat. And then at the same time, we see Roberto and his father back at Solaz fixing some sort of like fence because boars keep on breaking it. So keep that in mind. Roberto and his father are not with Daryl and Carol at the beach. So on the beach, they are working on the boat. They somehow have the boat propped up, which I wonder how they did that. Even with vehicles, I wonder how they managed to lift up the boat and put, like, a frame underneath to hold up the boat. So yeah, they fix the rudder, they get the sail up, they get everything going. Carol talks to, what was that lady's name? Valentina? I think that was her name, Valentina? So, Valentina did mention to Carol, like, your boyfriend really doesn't like taking advice. And then the two of them are just like, oh, we're not together. You never did anything? You never tried? Daryl's just like, nope. Just once again teasing the fans of a Daryl and Carol romance. You know, some characters are just never meant to be together, and that's okay. Me personally, early on, way early on, like season 2 of Walking Dead, yeah, I kind of saw maybe a relationship between Daryl and Carol. I know that actors, their age difference is like 3 years, but I think in universe, Carol might be a little bit older than Daryl. But yeah, way long ago in like season 2 era, I did think maybe something would happen between Daryl and Carol, but no. Nope, after all these years, no. They're just best friends. And that's okay. You know, some relationships just aren't meant to happen. Daryl and Carol being one, and please hear me when I say this, Negan and Maggie. They're super not meant to be together. I will be so furious if they hooked up. 'Cause, no. Maggie ending up with the man who killed her husband destroys her entire character. So, no. Anyways. So, one of Valentina's crew, Cooper, used to be a sailor, and Valentina is suggesting that they take him with them to America. He used to be a sailor, he knows how to navigate a ship, and it would be a huge help to bring him along. He also wanted to go back to America too, you know, before the world fell apart, claiming that he wonders if his mother survived the initial outbreak. And yeah, if you were at a different continent, and then the goddamn zombie apocalypse happened, and you get stranded there for nearly a decade and a half, yeah, you would wonder who you knew back home survived. And you would try to find a way back home. So Daryl, for some reason, is hesitant to bring Cooper along. I feel like it's because, you know, Julian, but that's never stated. Eventually, Daryl does kind of open up to the idea of taking Cooper along. But then, we hear a whoosh sound. An arrow flew by and just instantly killed Cooper. So, damn, poor guy. Remember, he was stuck in Spain since the beginning. Now that he finally has a chance to go back to America, oh, he's killed instantly. Damn, poor guy. And just when we learned, he's wondering if his mother survived too. So, the group that we saw in the first episode raid the ship when it was shipwrecked, they're back. The guys wearing animal skulls on their heads, wearing barbarian outfits with weapons, they come back and they attack. And because plot armor, our characters survive and get by pretty unscathed. Although there is one casualty, being Cooper, so that's pretty sad. Anyways, back at Salaz, Roberto is speaking with his father, and then it's revealed that there's some sort of grudge, some sort of feud between his father and Fede. We don't learn exactly what that is yet in this episode. But then, more of those people start attacking Salaz. So, Salaz Del Mar is under attack. So our characters rush back as well. And I'm kind of wondering, like, where did all these people come from? This was a pretty big group. They had an army to attack Salaz. A pretty big group. So our characters... our characters at Salaz get armed, and they fight back. So Paz, Fede, Roberto's father, I really forgot his name. They're all fighting back. And this is partially why they have cages full of walkers. They unleash the walkers, and yes, some of the bandits do get eaten. You would kind of think like you are this deep into the apocalypse and you are armed to the teeth. It's like, how? How do you get eaten this way? But you have to remember, there is like a battle going on between two groups. So it is pretty hectic, and it's kind of hard to pay attention to your entire surroundings. So yeah, some of them do fall. Fights break out, yada yada yada. Daryl and Carol show back up, and of course they kick some ass. And hilariously enough, it looks like time passes really quickly. Like the beach sequence, you see it's daytime, and then the moment the bells ring to signal Salaz is under attack, the sun is setting, they get back, it's somewhat dark. The next scene, the next cut, it is getting darker and darker and darker. Like, time is passing hilariously fast. And you know what? It's actually been quite a while since we've seen infinite ammo in Walking Dead. We all know about Herschel's infamous infinite ammo shotgun. So, let's see. Roberto, he's up to something while this siege is taking place. It seems like Roberto wants to leave to go and find Justina himself. So while Roberto is leaving, he notices off in the distance some sort of shadowy figure. He's wondering what's that over there. And then a big ball of flames gets lit up. And that ball of flame gets catapulted into Salaz. And then it's revealed that fireball is a giant ball of walkers set on fire. Now, I'm kind of thinking, how did you accomplish this? How did you get a bunch of walkers into a catapult and actually them form a ball as they're flying? Like, they didn't scatter remotely at all while in the air. That projectile stayed a ball. And then when it collided with the ground, then the walkers got up. So I'm kind of thinking, like, how did they do that? How did they get a ball of still moving walkers, set it ablaze, and launch it? Whatever. Doesn't matter. So yeah, there are now walkers on fire, roaming around Salaz. Our characters, well, actually a little bit earlier, Daryl split up with Carol to go and find Roberto, I think. Or whatever. So Carol is cornered along with a couple of other people. She's cornered by the flaming walkers. One guy actually does get eaten from behind by a walker on fire, and I'm just like, how did that happen? You know, it's one thing if the walker was eating you from the front, but from the back? Like, how did that happen? And damn, that is more brutal. That is an even more brutal way to die. Not only are you being eaten alive, but also on fire. So then, Fede on top, well, he got injured. He got stabbed, but whatever, doesn't matter. Fede on top pulls out the Gatling gun. And then there's the other medieval weapon, I forget what the name of it was. It launches a bunch of spears. Daryl returns. His nearly infinite ammo gun finally runs out of ammo. So he gets thrown down a weapon. An actual automatic gun that actually does look like it had infinite ammo. It looked like a Tommy gun, but without the wheel magazine, whatever it's called, I'm sorry. But yeah, so Fede is on top hand cranking the Gatling gun while Daryl is on the ground with his infinite ammo Tommy gun. And they just clear everything out. The flaming walkers, the remaining bandits. It's been a while since we've seen infinite ammo. So, now that the battle's over, Fede is, at the center of his people and saying, like, let this be a lesson to all of us, that we need more guards. But Roberto calls him out on his shit. Like, you call this a win? Look at this. Our alliance with, what was his name again? Their alliance with El Alcazar, they were supposed to protect them in exchange for their daughters yearly. And look at that, we were attacked and they didn't help. But then Fede's like, they did help. The weapons they provided us. Without that, we would have all been killed. But yeah, Roberto is just pissed off and hurt that Justina's gone. I also forgot to mention this. Throughout the season so far, Daryl has been super cold. Anytime Carol wants to help out Roberto and Justina, Daryl's just like, no, it's not our problem. We're going home. Remember that. What's important is we're going home. It doesn't matter to us what these people do. That's their business. We are going home. So don't get involved in their business. Daryl has been unusually cold this season. So at the beach, Daryl and Carol were talking, and Carol kind of calls him out. She's just like, why do you act like you don't care? And Daryl's just like, you think I don't care? But then Daryl, he actually makes a good point. This entire time, they've been fighting other people's fight. Why can't they fight for themselves for once? They're alive, but they're not really living. Daryl does make a good point, but come on, we know Daryl. We know that this is eating him up. We know that he does care for Roberto and Justine, but he's just... He's tired. He's sick of this world. He just wants to go home. And now he's been pulled into another foreign affair. Well, as much of a foreign affair as you can get in this world. Okay, so the day passes, it's now morning, they're cleaning up, and they hear some sort of... Wait, no, that's not right. No, not yet. They actually have one of the attackers captured alive. So they interrogate him, they question him. Who does he work for? He doesn't work for anyone except themselves. And what was their goal? To just simply burn it all down. Uh-huh. What a motivator. So they have to think of a punishment for him. Because unfortunately for him, he was captured alive. So Fede, instead of just either hanging him, publicly shooting him, just executing him, he claims that his fate will be decided by God. So what he does is he chains up this prisoner to walkers and then lets him go. It's like, your fate is in God's hands now. And your own stamina. So basically, he is chained to a bunch of walkers. And he's also handcuffed, I think. So he can't just grab a weapon and kill the walkers. So, he just needs to keep on going. Keep on running away. Keep on moving. So that these walkers don't get him. And if he tires out, if he stops moving, then the walkers will get him. Damn, that is brutal. I've never thought about a punishment like that before. Like, imagine that. You, as a punishment for your evil deeds in the apocalypse, you are chained, shackled, confined to zombies, and your fate is in your hands. You either just keep on moving, keep on running so that the walkers don't get you, or you tire out, you stop, and then you get eaten alive. That is brutal, and I love it. So yeah, that's the dude's punishment. So they hear a car. They hear some sort of engine going on, or going off. They investigate. Daryl and that dude that we saw at the beginning of the episode, they go to the road. They point their guns at who might be driving the car. And it's Roberto. So Daryl lowers his gun because he sees it's Roberto, but then the other guy just does not lower it. He actually looks like he's dead set on shooting Roberto to stop him, but then Daryl intervenes. And then they report this back to Fede, where that guy lies his ass off and is just like, I was about to shoot the tires. That is a lie right there. Because his gun was not aimed low whatsoever. It was aimed at the driver's seat. Alright, so Roberto's gone. He recklessly has left in hopes to find Justina. So they need to try to bring him back. Or find him and bring him back. So Roberto's father volunteers. And Carol volunteers to join him. Daryl isn't happy about this because, you know, Daryl this whole time has just been trying to get them home safely. And now Carol has volunteered to help these peoples in their affair. And who knows, it could get her killed. You never know. So Daryl very begrudgingly is like, fine, if you're going, I'm going too. So they drive out. It also seems like Daryl has a brand new motorcycle, because of course he does. If it's not a crossbow, it's a motorcycle. Daryl somehow manages to always get his hands on one of these. Speaking of which, where is Daryl's crossbow? I would say, I imagine it's on the boat, but in the first episode of this season where those guys kind of raided the boat and even trashed it just because, I feel like they may have taken it. However, I bet you anything Daryl will get his hands back on his crossbow later this season. So they go out, and they keep on going out until it's nighttime. They see that Roberto's car has been flipped over. Somehow that happened. And then we, the audience, see flashes to Roberto encountering... Wait, no, is that right? Whatever. We see flashes to Roberto and Justine. Carol finds the compass, so that implies that those two are together. And then the end of the episode, we see Justina with this group. She claims she'll be right back. She goes to the horse, and then she sees this silhouette in the forest background, and then the episode ends. This was a pretty intense episode. The first half was a little bit slow. It was our characters repairing the boat. And then the second half was this siege on Solaz Del Mar. Yeah, I naively thought that the whole episode would be them just fixing the boat. I kind of thought that would be the case, but clearly not. You know, if there's 3 signature items that Daryl has, it seems like he lost one of them permanently. So all he has left is his crossbow and a motorcycle of any kind. And the third one is his Angel Wings vest. He lost that at the beginning of Season 1. And I think it's safe to say this one he probably will not be getting back. Unless, who knows, maybe he'll make it back to America and Judith made him another one. If anything, I'm super excited for Season 4. specifically the ending. Because we know Daryl and Carol are going to stay in Spain until Season 4. So they're not leaving by the end of Season 3. And Season 4 is going to be the last season. So they have to make it back to America by the end of Season 4, right? They have to. Because it would be pretty stupid if you were to tell me Season 4, the series finale of the spin-off, ends with them stuck, stranded, in a different continent, and then you have to watch another spin-off to see them return back to America. That would be pretty dumb. Alright. That was Daryl Dixon. Nice. I enjoyed it. This was a long episode, too. I kept on looking at the clock like, how long is this episode? Not that I'm complaining, but it's like, you know, episodes are usually an hour-ish. You know, accounting for commercials. You know, tonight my family had sushi. Like, we bought sushi takeout. Now, I know what I do with sushi is a sin. I cook it. Listen, I'm not that big of a fan of raw fish, okay? And they don't have the stomach space to eat all the sushi they made. So, the remaining sashimi, because I'm not a huge fan of raw fish, I cook it. I know that defeats the purpose of sushi-grade salmon, but like, yeah. And when I cooked it, I didn't grease the pan whatsoever. Once the salmon slices were frying up, there was so much grease. So much grease. I even plated it without the grease in the pan, and then there was a big pool of oil on the bottom of my bowl. It's like, damn, that salmon was fatty. And I cooked it too. So all that oil was rendered out. Imagine eating it raw. All that fat and oil, they ate it. Okay, we can finally talk about a brand new show. Well, I don't know if I would say brand new, but we can finally talk about another show. Let's get some music going on here. And we got 3 more shows to talk about today. Oh, my life is packed, at least on the entertainment side. Because up next, we are going to be talking about the first episode of Peacemaker Season 2. There's a reason why I wanted to watch and discuss Superman first. Because not only did that come out before Peacemaker Season 2, there are indeed callbacks and connections to the movie. So that's why I wanted to watch Superman first, before Peacemaker Season 2. And excellent choice. Because opening the episode, we get a montage previously on style for Peacemaker Season 1. Now you have to remember this, you have to keep in mind, Peacemaker's continuity is a mess. Not just Peacemaker's, James Gunn's DC project's continuity is a mess. So, Season 1 is canon to the DCEU. Season 2 is not. Season 2 is canon to the DCU. But the events of Season 1 are canon. Does that make sense? And not only that, to make things more complicated, in the DCU, the events of the Suicide Squad and Creature Commandos. Wait, no. Just the Suicide Squad is canon. No, Creature Commandos is DCU. Never mind. So technically, if you want to have all the details, all the background, the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker Season 1, both are not canon, but the events are. And then, it's Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker Season 2. What an absolute mess. Someday in the future, we're gonna look back, and we're gonna look at the history and see what a huge mess this was, and how avoidable it could have been. Anyways, so, we get a recap of Season 1. Now, there were some things in the recap I just could not help but notice. So, in Season 1 of Peacemaker, when Adebayo was calling her mother, Amanda Waller, she, she was just like, things are getting pretty bad. I was wondering if you can call in the Justice League? And then in this recap, strategic dubbing over Adebayo saying Justice Gang is strategic. So in the recap, they made her say Justice Gang instead. What's funny is, they cut the footage right as she was about to say the word League. So she said Justice, they cut the footage, and then you hear her say Gang when she was supposed to say League. So strategic cutting of saying Justice Gang instead of Justice League is strategic. And also, I was hoping they would do this for Season 2, and they did. The ending scene in Season 1, where the Justice League actually shows up, they redid that, they re-edited that, to where now the Justice Gang shows up. So instead of seeing Aquaman and the Flash talking, we see Hawkgirl and Green Lantern talking. It's okay. If you didn't know, the Justice League scene in Season 1 was also all green screened. So Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller did not actually show up there. They were green screened in. Alright, Season 2 of Peacemaker. So, now that we're past the goddamn recap, I said all that about just the recap. Alright, so I'm not too sure how long it's been since the events of Season 1. It does say 6 months later, although I'm not too sure if that means... Wait, what? Hey, if you are going to play Hollow Knight, and let me know, I have the game files. Sweet. So yeah, it does say 6 months later, though I'm not sure if that's 6 months after Season 1, or 6 months after the events of Superman. I'm going to assume it just makes sense, it's 6 months after Season 1, regardless of if the timeline matches up or not. Because, you know, these shows usually take place the year they are released. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Peacemaker come out like 3 years ago? Yes. Yes, it did. Season 1 of Peacemaker came out in 2022. So, roughly, in show, unless I'm forgetting, in the show, for Season 1, it was around 2022. And now it's 6 months later in the year 2025. That doesn't entirely make sense, but whatever, who cares? Me, I care. So we see that Peacemaker, he is now no longer living in his trailer park, he's living in his father's house. Hold on a second. So he gets woken up in the middle of the night by Eagly, and well, it's snowing outside, so he doesn't want to let Eagly out to fly around and I guess bird pee. So instead, he goes into the pocket dimension that he just casually has in his house. Because that pocket dimension, that space is so massive, has enough space for Eagly to just fly around. But Eagly is kind of directing Chris to open a particular door. And once Chris does open that door, it goes into another universe where his father, Augie, is alive. And very on-the-dot writing, Augie Smith is just like, you act like you've seen a ghost. And then Chris runs back. Actually, that was the prologue. Now, it's 6 months later. Now that it's 6 months later, Peacemaker is, I guess you could say, going to a job interview. Not necessarily, but he's auditioning to join a superhero team. Adebayo shows up to drive him there. When he shows up, this lady in a bunny unitard walks out crying. So that's a little strange. So Peacemaker goes in, sits down, and hey, who is interviewing him than what? It's none other than Maxwell Lord, Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl. So I can't believe it's taken this long for connection between movies and films. Wait, what? Between films and TV shows. For what? Almost 15 years, Marvel has done a piss-poor job connecting movies and TV shows. Mostly because they weren't developed by the same studio, you know? And here, James Gunn just casually does it. James Gunn just casually puts in these movie characters into this TV show. And I love it. So, during the interview, Maxwell Lord flips on a switch that should allow them to speak freely and for Peacemaker to not be able to hear them, but everything gets heard. Peacemaker is able to hear every insult they say about him. At one point, they talk about their butts instead. And Peacemaker does get pretty fed up, like anyone would. So he's just like, am I supposed to be able to hear you guys? So Maxwell Lord flips a switch, like, can you hear me now? Yes. Flips a switch. What about now? Yes, I can still hear that. You said I was stupid earlier? And it's like, damn. Now, me personally, I would not take that disrespect. And I would do exactly what Peacemaker did. Because, damn, they disrespected the hell out of Peacemaker. And yeah, Peacemaker didn't even give them a chance. He just angrily stomped out. It's like, man, fuck you guys. I'm out of here. I don't want to be part of your dumbass Justice Gang anyways. And then, it turns out, the reason that Bunny Girl walked out crying earlier is because she overheard Maxwell Lord saying, like, I wonder how many times she heard me mention her camel toe. Anyways, so they turn around and then they see Peacemaker's gone. He leaves and Adebayo drives him back home. Alright, so we follow Amelia Harcourt, and she has been diagnosed, hilariously enough, she has been diagnosed with toxic masculinity. And she's just like, but I have a vagina. The doctor, psychiatrist guy, he's just like, I find it rather sexist that you would assume that only men can be assigned or, identified with toxic masculinity. I mean, I guess if men can act feminine, I guess there's no reason why women cannot act masculine. I don't know, I guess I've just never heard of that before, where a woman gets diagnosed with toxic masculinity. Anyways, so she is furious right now. She's been essentially blacklisted she's been blacklisted by Amanda Waller in all of the intelligence agencies. Even though season 1, it was her daughter, Adebayo, who exposed her mother, Amanda Waller, but clearly she can't attack her own daughter, so Harcourt kind of gets the splash damage there. She very angrily beats up her radiator, or her dashboard, whatever, in her car. When she gets home, hey, Chris is there. Chris is there, waiting to talk to her. Remember, Chris has developed feelings for Amelia. Now, I gotta say, that's gotta be mad awkward on set, because the director, James Gunn, he's behind the camera, and he's just seeing one of his friends, while, despite acting, flirting with his wife. You have to remember, Amelia Harcourt is played by Jennifer Holland, and she is James Gunn's wife. So, I don't know if by the end of the season these two will hook up and if there's gonna be a sex scene on screen. That must be mad awkward for James Gunn to film. We, the audience, are rooting for it, but like actor-wise, like, ooh, that's strange. John Cena even attended James Gunn's wedding. So anyways, they mentioned something that may have happened between them. There's like this boat party or whatever they went to. They got drunk and maybe they smashed. But Harcourt, she seems like it was just a drunken mistake. Anyways, so Chris has had a pretty rough day. He was roasted the hell out of by the Justice Gang. He and Harcourt doesn't seem to be happening. So he goes back, and what does he do? Not only does he smoke up a doobie, he rips that bong, but then he also pulls out his emergency stash for a rainy day. That extra high quality Colombian white powder. So he super snorts some cocaine, and then next we know, there's a lot of naked people around him. At first I couldn't tell, is this like a drug-induced hallucination? But no, he actually arranged an orgy while he was coked the hell out. And then, once he gets back to his senses, walks past all the naked people fucking in his house, he walks over to his closet where the door to the quantum unfolding chamber is, and every time he opens that, an alarm gets set off. Well, detections. It turns out Economos, John Economos, Diebeard himself, has been stationed outside of Peacemaker's house, watching him. And who assigned this? It's none other than Rick Flag Sr. He assigned Economos to watch over Peacemaker, because he has a grudge against Peacemaker. Remember, Peacemaker killed Rick Flag Jr. And there was even a reference to, this is why I watched Superman before. Because this new character, I don't even think we learned her name yet, new character reporting to Rick Flag Sr. is just like, sir, there was another, like, dimensional rift anomaly detected. It was once again at Peacemaker's home. It's like, let's avoid another dimensional rift from opening. What, the Luther incident in Metropolis a couple months back? Nice. Nice. You gotta love those references. Oh yeah, there was also a small scene where Economos is on the phone call with Adrian. Quiz about owls, whatever. It's just Adrian being himself. So Economos walks up to the window and sees Chris just standing there next to his portal. And he takes a picture. What does Peacemaker do? He actually walks into the portal, and then he enters the same parallel dimension we saw at the beginning of the episode. But instead, this time, he actually follows through and goes straight into the other universe. In this universe, it seems like the Peacemaker of this world, White Dragon, and Chris's brother, Keith. Not only is he alive in this universe, but there's some sort of like heroic trio in this universe. So in this universe, Chris is sitting with his father, his brother, having a good time together. And his brother Keith casually drops the bombshell like, hey, how are you doing with your ex? You know? It's like, I think you should talk to her again, bro. So Chris, he goes back to his doppelganger's room, sees a picture. His ex was this universe's Harcourt. In this universe, Chris ended up with Amelia. I mean, we also see Chris break down in this universe, and I'll be honest, I would too. I think we can all be honest and say that in Chris's home universe, his life isn't that great, you know? He is looked down upon as a superhero. He saved the world and no one gives him any respect. His father was an abusive douchebag who he had to kill himself. His brother was killed accidentally by him. And he doesn't get the woman that he loves. In this universe, he has a loving father, his brother is alive, and regardless of if their status is official or not at the moment, he was with Amelia at one point. That is tough. I would be hurt too. If I went to a parallel universe where everything was great, everything was perfect, man, I don't want to come back here. Shit sucks over here. If I ended up in another universe where everything was perfect, man, I don't want to leave there. But that does leave the issue, like, where's the Peacemaker of this world? His brother and father were saying that their Peacemaker is away somewhere. But then he just casually shows up. He points a gun to Allwer Peacemaker's head and is just like, I don't know who you are, shapeshifter. So, Allwer Chris, he runs for dear life. He goes back to the portal and tries to run back to his world. And then we see just how proficient and actually competent this Peacemaker is. He unleashes, like, honing in razor, like, ninja stars that cut into his back. When Allwer Chris goes back to the quantum unfolding chamber, the other Peacemaker fights him And we see just how proficient he is, not only at fighting, but also with his gadgets too. But because our Peacemaker has plot armor, he manages to outsmart his doppelganger, and unfortunately kill him. So, our Peacemaker just accidentally killed his doppelganger. Ooh, wait till his father and brother's doppelganger find out. There was also this scene where Economos was talking to Adebayo, because he wants her to talk to Chris about that thing, about that portal that he has. And then in typical James Gunn writing, Economos shows Adebayo the picture he took of his portal. She's just like, just airdrop it to me. And then he airdrops the wrong picture. It's almost like he airdropped her his dick pics. But yeah, anyways. Peacemaker Season 2 Episode 1 ends with Peacemaker himself killing his doppelganger. You know, I'm kind of wondering, will they connect Season 2 with Season 1, as absurd as that sounds? Because we know the two seasons take place in different universes. So I wonder, will they actually connect them somehow? Will they connect the DCU with the DCEU, even though the DCEU is dead? I don't know, that'd be kind of cool. Now, I am way behind on the Peacemaker episodes. The most recent episode came out, and I already got spoiled of a guest appearance. Lex Luthor. Oops. So yeah. I will try to catch up on Peacemaker in due time. Oh, I didn't mention yet the opening intro. Not gonna lie, I like the intro to Season 1 better. Tasted by Wigwam, if I said that correctly, in my opinion, is much catchier than whatever the song is for Season 2 intro. And I couldn't help but notice that in the Season 2 intro, the White Dragon suit, instead of red, it's blue now. And I like it. You know, I always said, red things look nice in blue, and vice versa. I mean, for God's sake. Shiny Giratina. Like, you can't tell me I'm wrong. Things that are red look good when they're blue, and vice versa. You ever seen a blue Coca-Cola can? And of course, the Season 2 intro does the same thing as the Season 1 trope, where everyone's dancing with a straight face. And yes, I have seen the memes online. The Peacemaker Season 2 intro goes with anything. It's a pretty hilarious meme. I need to plug in my 3DS. It's low on power. Alright, let me just plug this in real quick. And also, let me go see if there's any lights I need to turn off. And then we'll talk about the next show. Oh, it's not time to turn off the lights just yet. I'll go turn them off in a second. Okay. Next show is none other than the Season 2 premiere of Gen V. We are just non-stop talking about the boys' universe, huh? Alright, Gen V Season 2. You know, technically, it's been a long time, real world-wise, since we got anything The Boys related, because Season 4 of The Boys actually aired over a year ago. A long time ago, and I just now watched it. And damn, what impeccable timing I have, because damn near right after I finished The Boys Season 4, Gen V aired. So, hey, no waiting time for me. And also, I watched Season 1 of Gen V not that long ago. So, hey! What great timing everything happened to fall upon. Alright, so, Gen V, Season 2. Oh my god, stupid ads. Gen V Season 2. You know what's funny? A friend of mine, or I think a couple friends of mine, do not watch this show. They watch The Boys, but they did not watch this. One of my friends the other night when they came over, he even said, like, you're supposed to watch Gen V, otherwise you won't understand, like, Season 4 of The Boys. While it's not necessary, it would help. Since, you know, the whole virus at Godolkin, that kind of storyline, you know? And also, if you'd never watched Gen V, you would have no idea who Sam and Kate are in Season 4. You know what I say to this? Where there are other spin-offs, other projects that take place in the same universe that if you do not watch, you'll be lost. Like, you know, I guess you could say necessary viewing. Otherwise, you will be left out, you'll be left behind. And then people complain, well, I shouldn't watch a spin-off, I shouldn't watch something else to understand this. And to that I say, fuck them. I don't care. I like it. I like having to watch something else to understand. Well, not really having, but if it's there, then yeah. People are complaining about, people were complaining about the MCU, like, damn, now I have to do homework, I have to watch all this to understand a project. And to that I say, well, the hell with you guys. Someone like me who watches everything, I'm ready. I'm prepared. So we open up the episode with a flashback to a group of scientists testing out what looks like an early sample of Compound V. Now, what's noticeable about this sample of Compound V is that it's much more cloudy, it's much more opaque, it's not the clear blue color that we're used to. I forget what year this was, like 1962, whatever. So, these groups of scientists are stupidly injecting themselves with this early recipe of Compound V, and then we see this other guy running towards them, like running towards the lab, frantically, like trying to stop them. But once he shows up, they've already injected themselves. And then each single one of them brutally dies. One guy, he combusts into flames. The other guy, his like stomach blows open. I forget what the third death was. But I think the last one is the most brutal. Where these tentacle things come out of his ass. That is pretty painful. The other ones are at least, I guess, somewhat instant. The flames, the stomach bursting, but that one, the ass, ooh, that must hurt. And then, well, fire, explosions. The guy who was trying to stop this, you know, he is trying to ring the fire alarm, but then he passes out from, like, shock, injuries, and I guess CO2. And then it's revealed on his name tag, this is Thomas Godolkin. You know, the guy who the school is named after. Alright, so, back in present day, which it's not specified how long it's been since the end of Season 1, although I would assume at least a year. Since, you know, the entire events of Season 4 of The Boys took place, and that season alone had several time jumps. I would say bare minimum a year, if not 2, but it's hard to say. So, there was also a pretty nice tribute at the very beginning where text shows up saying for Chance, because unfortunately Chance Perdomo, the actor playing Andre, passed away. So we continue with our characters who have been locked up at I think the Elmira Vought Adult Institution Center. They've been locked in there for quite a long time. So Jordan, he gets taken to some sort of big truck, and inside is Emma. They're scared for their lives because they think this is it. This is it. They're being driven to where they're going to be executed, probably. Well, the next morning, they show back up at Godolkin. Kate is out there waiting for them. But obviously, they're pretty pissed at Kate, so they want nothing to do with her. Kate is wondering, like, hey, where's Andre? But our characters are like, as if you don't know. Andre's dead. It seems like Kate really didn't know that Andre had passed. And they keep on mentioning this throughout the episode, that Andre is dead. But we don't learn what happened to him until near the end. Now, once again, it's pretty unfortunate and pretty sad that Chance Perdomo passed away. A part of me was wondering, based off the trailer, if they were going to say Andre was missing the entire time. No, they're just killing him off screen, which I think might be the best choice. Okay, so Emma and Jordan are allowed to re-enroll into Godolphin. And they've even been, I guess, promoted to Guardians of Godolphin. But hey, there's no Marie. Where's she? It turns out she escaped months ago and has been on the run. We also meet this new character, this lady who greets them as they return to Godolphin. I forget her name, but her V power is that she has a stinger out her ass, like a bee stinger. If you get stung by it, not only would you die, she would die too. So we meet the brand new Dean of Godolphin. It actually took them quite a while to replace Shetty, it seems like. So, the brand new Dean Cypher is making a speech to Godolphin. There was also this, like, tribute video to characters that we've seen die in the world. So, news has come out that Victoria Newman is dead. We will not forget our fallen. Victoria Newman, Tech Knight, Ezekiel, Queen Maeve. Although Queen Maeve is still alive, they just don't know it. So yeah, the new Dean Cypher, makes a speech, and Jordan recognizes that Cypher was there, overlooking their imprisonment. Anyways, they try to look into Dean Cypher's past, but they can't find anything. Kate confronts the new Dean, confronts Cypher. Like, how could you not tell me about Andre's death? You know, it seems like throughout the episode, everyone was saying Kate is able to, like, read people's thoughts. Was that something she could do in Season 1? I thought that could only happen if she had contact with them. Unless I'm forgetting something. Because it does seem like throughout the episode she's able to read minds as well. Which I don't remember her being able to do that in Season 1. And then he threatens her by nearly putting her arm in a blender, which it's still not explained how Kate got her arm back, unless she too has regenerative powers that we just don't know about. So we follow Marie. She's been on the road for quite a while. She goes to this gas station, buys some stuff, and she's a little short on money, so this random guy offers to pay. So the next day, these guys who are revealed as Starlighters are being harassed by people who support Homelander, and then Marie kicks their asses, but that fight gets recorded and posted online. And that's how Marie and Emma are able to find her. They actually attend this Godolphin party, where we also see Rufus. We see Rufus, first of all, he salutes yearbook pictures of the Deep. I guess he was class president for several years. So yeah, they're at this party and they are getting hammered. There's this guy who drinks beer anally. And then Jordan, he knocks the beer keg out and then he just sprays it everywhere. Ooh, nasty. Emma's also there. She runs into Sam, who is now with Justine, the bitch from the first season who exposed Emma's powers. And I cannot believe Justine is so dense to not even recognize that, Emma's not exactly friendly towards her after everything she did. So Emma attacks her, and then she's just like, what the fuck? Even Sam is kind of like, Emma, what's wrong with you? So then Emma just completely scolds Sam. Sam wanted a truce between them, but Emma's just like, fuck you. She even reveals to Sam that Andre is dead. And not even Sam knew. So Sam goes to Kate, where Kate, I guess... Kate once again makes Sam not feel anything. Now, I kind of wonder, this whole time, has Sam really been in control? The things that he said to Emma, Sam being with Justine now, is that really Sam? Or is this Kate controlling him? Like, would he act and behave differently if he wasn't being controlled by Kate? So Emma goes to the bathroom and she once again shrinks without vomiting. She tries to get big again, but she can't. So instead she steals the plastic outfit from a little, the hula girl thing, and then she just parties. She parties. She is the ball in the beer pong. There's this dude who talks to her like, hey, what if you get small but your tits stay big? And then this guy sees on TikTok that footage has come up of Marie and her battle aftermath. Emma's able to recognize the blood patterns. It's Marie's marks. It's her fighting style. So she talks to Jordan, and then they decide to go and look for... Marie. Speaking of Marie... Oh yeah, there was also this scene where Emma goes to Andre's house to try to tell his dad, but Andre's father already knew. Polarity already knew. And he is drinking himself to death. Emma lets him know that the new dean of Godolkin, this Cypher guy, was also there at the institute where they were all held up. We don't know what he's doing, what he's planning, but he kind of has something to do with Andre's death. So maybe look into that. You can do this to honor your son. Speaking of Marie, she's actually being followed by Dognot. This freaking guy. We saw a tease of him at the beginning of At the beginning of The Boys Season 4. Remember, the Deep said he didn't eat a dog, he ate out a dog. There's a difference. And what the hell was this guy's name again? Zach something. Zach McGowan. This fucking guy shows up everywhere. So Zach McGowan plays Dognot, and oh yeah, this dude is into canines. He sees a dog, and he's just like, hey, they're beautiful. Disgusting. So, Dognot is able to sniff out Marie's trail like a bloodhound and track her to this, motel she's staying in. So, they get into a fight. Dognot almost injects Marie with something. Whether it be lethal or just to knock her out, we don't know. But then, someone saves her. It's none other than Annie. Starlight saves her. Annie wants to ask Marie for her help. Something is going on at Godolkin. Something called Project Odessa. And she wants Marie to go back to school, not only because it's the safest place for her there, but also because she wants Marie to find out what this Project Odessa is and stop it. Well, Marie is hesitant. She just got away from there, and now she's being asked to go back. Also, she did see on the TV that Emma and Jordan are free and back at Godolphin, being promoted as guardians. So at least she knows that her friends have gotten out of the Institute. So now it's nighttime. Marie and Jordan show up. They found... Wait, what? Emma and Jordan show up. They found Marie. Jordan is pretty pissed at Marie, because she kind of left them. Marie found a way to escape, and she never came back for help. Or she never came back to help them. And then it's finally revealed what happened to Andre. Even Marie didn't know that Andre died. So the way Andre died, he was actually inspired by Marie's escape. So when they had another opportunity to escape, Andre used his polarity powers to like open a door to try to get them out. But it was too much for Andre. He kept on using his powers despite Jordan and Emma trying to get him to stop. He just kept on going until eventually he just dropped dead. Remember, we learned in Season 1, his father, Polarity's powers, every time he uses it, there's like micro tears. So yeah, if he used his powers too much, it could cause severe damage. So imagine how hard he used his powers for it to kill him. So not even Marie knew that Andre was dead. So Kate followed them. Kate also showed up. And well, she's able to read Marie's mind somehow, and she's able to tell that she was talking to Starlight. And now that Kate actually answers to Homelander and the Seven, she needs to tell Homelander. And she was about to reach out her hand to mind control Marie to go back to Godolphin. But you know, they don't want anything to do with Kate. They don't want her to touch their asses. So Jordan actually unleashes her like, I guess like thunderclap kind of powers. Her powers that pushes pushes Kate back. She slams onto the wall, and then her skull is actually broken open. She's bleeding from the head. She begs for them to help. Remember, Marie can control blood. She actually can help, but she needs to touch Kate for that. And she's hesitant to do that. So Marie's not helping her. Jordan's not helping her. So Kate asks or pleads to Emma to help her, but all of them leave her for dead. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking, are they actually killing off Kate this early in the season? But then no, after this happens, the episode's pretty much over. But we do get a little sizzle reel of what's to come in the season, and we do see that in the sizzle reel, there's a scene from a future episode saying Kate is currently in the hospital recovering. And then we also do see other scenes with her. So Kate's gonna be fine. So yeah, also in that sizzle reel, not only do we see the Deep is going to show up, we already knew that from the trailer, but we also see that Sister Sage will show up too. Interesting. And there you go. Gen V Season 2 Episode 1. Unless I forgot something. Andre's father did start looking into Cypher. Alright, give me a sec. Let me go actually turn off those lights. Is it shiny? No. Why? Why is it not shiny? Okay, let me drink some water first. Okay, let's talk about the final show to discuss for today. And that is Marvel Zombies. What music should I put on for this?
Police have identified.
Oh god, what the hell? One of the autoplays happened and, well, someone has been identified by the police. Oh. What music to play? Oh my god, I gotta get my mouse cursor off. Oh, no. Alright, Marvel Zombies. So, episode 1, we follow our characters. We follow Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop, and nobody's favorite character, Riri Williams. And I gotta tell you, Riri is pretty unlikable in this episode as well. So, our three characters are scavenging New York, where, remember, you gotta keep in mind, this is a continuation of the What If Zombies episode. So, everything that happened in that episode was, the past for this. So we know that characters like Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, Wong, they were already zombified. We know that in this universe, that, why am I forgetting her name? Janet Van Dyne was Patient Zero. In this universe, zombie Scarlet Witch, zombie Thanos. Anyway, so yeah. So, our three characters are searching around New York City, and a Quinjet, a S.H.I.E.L.D. Quinjet, crash lands, where it's just a random S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, I guess. And Riri is able to tell that there's something in his stomach. So they rock, paper, scissors, and Kamala, well, she loses, so she needs to use her embiggening powers to grab what's inside the the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's stomach, but then the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent turns into a zombie. And then, they're being attacked by zombie Hawkeye, who is just wandering the city, patrolling the city to kill anyone. So Kate is, equal in skill to zombie Hawkeye. Zombie Hawkeye ricochets one of his arrows off of, building windows and stuff, but they're able to dodge in time, and hey, Kate actually gets one of Hawkeye's arrows. It's a trick arrow. I kind of wonder where zombie Hawkeye gets his arrows from, his trick arrows from, because remember, in the Hawkeye series, Clint Barton made his own trick arrows. So I wonder where zombie Hawkeye gets his arrows from. Does zombie Hawkeye make them himself? Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, they have Iron Man's suit flying behind them, but instead of the Iron Man helmet, it's a teddy bear's helmet. And it turns out it's being controlled by Friday. Remember, Tony Stark's AI, Friday. So our characters manage to escape zombie Hawkeye. They make it back to the Bishop mansion. Remember, Kate Bishop, her family's rich. Her house is stocked with supplies, and she mentioned that her mother prepared the house for anything. I assume she prepared the house for, I don't know, Wilson Fisk to attack, not a zombie apocalypse, but She did prepare the house, stocked with food and weapons, I guess. So, oh yeah, I didn't even mention. The thing that they got from inside the shield agent's stomach was a tiny little device. It's not meant to be tiny. They determined that it has been shrunken down with pim particles, and it was important enough for a shield agent to swallow it to try to get it away to safety. So they pieced together that this little gadget the size of I don't know, it kind of looked like a wine bottle cork to me. So the size of that, this thing is like an interdimensional transmitter. Wait, no, not yet. Not yet. They don't know what the... I guess I kind of spoiled it. They don't know what this thing is just yet. They actually determined that they need, like, a shield hard drive in order to decipher what it is, but I already spoiled what it is. They realize there's a shield base in Ohio, so they need to drive over there. While driving to Ohio, they pass by this big mountain that has, like, a chunk taken out of it, somehow. And they kind of are like, hey, it's a shortcut, let's take it. Bad mistake. So they drive through this, like, this gorge in the mountain, and then there's this crazy storm that kicks in that knocks them off course. But then they slowly start to realize, hey, this isn't a storm. This doesn't match. What are those in the sky? Are those people? It turns out it is Icarus and Zombie Carol Danvers. Zombie Captain Marvel. Now, before we got this show, before we got these episodes years ago, we saw concept art, and we were thinking, Zombie Icarus? That is insane. But it does seem like Icarus is not a zombie. Friday identifies Icarus as a non-organic being, but is heavily damaged. But then identifies Carol Danvers, and that's a zombie. So Icarus is not a zombie. Icarus has just been fighting zombie Carol Danvers. And it seems like they've been fighting here for a long time. They just non-stop fight. Remember, Icarus and the rest of the Eternals, their job was to protect the planet from deviants. Their job was to protect the planet and protect the intelligent life. But since almost all the intelligent life was wiped out by a zombie plague, well, it seems like one of the strongest zombies on Earth is Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. And Icarus, being the strongest Eternal, he has taken it upon himself to fight off zombie Carol Danvers. And it seems like the two of them, they've been fighting non-stop for who knows how long, and neither are strong enough to defeat the other. So, Kate actually uses her one new trick arrow on zombie Carol Danvers. It turns out it's just like a confetti arrow, so that didn't help. And then Kate gets evaporated. Kate Bishop died instantly. She died from zombie Carol Danvers' energy blast. It almost looked like she was in Smash Ultimate's World of Light and she was consumed by Galeem's light. I know you know what I'm talking about. So, oh no. Kate Bishop is now dead. So it's now just Kamala, Riri, and Friday. Oh yeah, there's also regular zombies around them. So they fight off the regular zombies, but then Riri, she gets bit on the arm. She gets bit on the arm, so she yells to Friday, like, take Kamala to safety. And then Riri, she injects herself with a cure that she's been trying to work on. But Riri's probably dead. So Friday flies Kamala away, but then Friday's like, I already lost one owner. I will not lose another. And then Friday flies back to try to help Riri. And that's the last we see of Friday. You know, also I forgot to mention earlier, it's revealed how they got the Iron Man suit in Friday. Friday reveals that Riri just stole the armor off of Tony Stark's body. Because remember, Tony Stark is dead. And then she's just like, well, he wasn't using it. He wasn't using the suit of armor. It's like, god damn it, Riri. What is it with this girl's grudge against Tony Stark? So, Kamala's now all alone. All alone. And she is running for dear life because Icarus is fighting off zombie Captain Marvel and they are causing a lot of explosions behind her. She tries to run away, and as she's about to get caught up in an explosion, she gets saved by none other than Blade Knight. And Kamala is knocked out. She dreams of, you know, Scarlet Witch, zombie Scarlet Witch, and also this thing. I don't know, this like dark figure. Maybe we'll learn about that later on. She wakes up and she sees Blade. So he reveals himself, or introduces himself. And, you know, Blade is not usually Moon Knight, the avatar of Khonshu. Blade reveals that Khonshu's previous avatar was lost during the plague. So, damn. As if it wasn't obvious. That means that Mark Spector... The hell was his name again? Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and even Jake Lockley, they're all gone. All of them have been lost to the zombie plague. And now, Blade has been chosen as Khonshu's avatar. And Blade offers to take Kamala to Ohio. Just like that? Yup, just like that. So they drive all the way to Ohio, and then there's this shield base that is surrounded by zombies. But the zombies don't attack. Instead, a voice comes up and is asking, state your business. So they say that they're here to... why they're here. And then the zombies actually part ways to let them through. So the people at the shield base is none other than Melina Vostokov, Alexei Shostakov, and Yelena Belova. How are they controlling the zombies? Well, Melina actually has mind-controlling technology that she used. Remember, in the Black Widow movie, she used it on the pigs. And Alexei even referenced that. Like, she used to have pigs, but they were eaten by zombies. Melina says that this mind control device, it was meant for humans, but it's even easier to use on zombies. So now that they're inside the shield base, they're finally able to use the shield hard drive to decode what this little gadget is. Now it's revealed it is a galactic transmitter that can send a message to the Nova Corps. Because the Nova Corps might have the technology and science to heal this world, to heal Earth. But because of some sort of incident, gee, I wonder what it is. Some sort of incident in Wakanda, there's now this like barrier around the Earth where signals cannot get past. So the signal needs to be broadcasted in outer space, outside of the atmosphere, in order for the signal to reach the Nova Corps for help. Gee, I wonder what that Wakanda event is. So now Kamala needs to get this little gadget out to space. She needs to find a spaceship to send like a distress call to the Nova Corps. But, unfortunately, the zombies have found the base. We see, we see zombie Okoye lead an army of zombies to this base. We also see zombie Abomination, zombie Ghost, zombie Steve Rogers, who's only half right now, because remember, in the What If episode, Bucky cut zombie Captain America in half. And I don't know, it's kind of jarring to see zombies talk. And I think it was this episode. I think it was in this episode where Okoye, like, yeah. There was also Hawkeye in this scene, zombie Hawkeye. She made Hawkeye a scion for the Queen of the Dead, Wanda Maximoff. So there are certain zombies, you know, the more powerful zombies, that are scions for the Queen of the Dead. And Okoye has just made Clint Barton a zombie scion. So the zombie horde is about to attack the shield base. Alexei makes this, like, battle speech, this, like, you know, this final stand speech. And also there's other Black Widows too. Other not as important Black Widows. So what's funny is zombie Abomination actually just hurls 50% of zombie Captain America, Gargantuar style. You know, in Plants vs. Zombies, a Gargantuar throws the imp. That's what it reminded me of. He not only throws zombie Cap, he throws other zombies too. And then zombie Cap, despite not having a bottom half of the body, is able to move really fast. He crawls into the vents where Alexei is super excited. You know, Alexei Red Guardian is always super excited, has always wanted to face off against Captain America. And now he's like, I finally get to face off against my rivals, Captain America, despite being a zombie. And then, instead of coming from the vents up above, zombie Steve Rogers comes up from below. So then, zombie Captain America moves really fast too. So, Alexei fights off zombie Cap. And I'm pretty sure Red Guardian had his shield. Red Guardian's shield has actually been missing for quite a while. But I think he actually had it here, because zombie Cap uses his shield as a shield, you know? Zombie Steve Rogers doesn't have his shield. Bucky took it. Well, Alexei wins by squishing zombie Cap, just going splat. So the other zombies also breach the perimeter as well. Zombie Ghost phases in and kills all of the unimportant Black Widows. So the shield base is gone. They need to evacuate. They're running, and Melina actually sacrifices herself. She closed the underground... she closes the underground gates and stays behind to try to mind control the zombies. Zombie Okoye is even surprised, like, they follow you? No, they follow science. But then, with the help of zombie Scarlet Witch's magic, the zombies go back to being under the control of the Queen of the Dead. So then zombie Okoye kills Melina by throwing her spear so hard, it stabs through Melina and the wall. You know, it's pretty sad for Alexei to cry out to her, what did he call her? Her winter bear? But then, oh no, even closed gates won't stop zombie Ava Star. So, and then we see Blade Knight fight. And when I say Blade Knight, I don't mean the Kirby character. We see Blade fight off zombie Ava Star. You know, it's that scene we saw in the trailer. Pretty awesome. And once zombie Ghost is sliced up into bits, they escape. They escape, the shield base blows up, but then, Yelena's like, Mama? Oh, that's sad. That is sad. So Alexei then assures Yelena, we will honor her with every breath we take. So now they have their mission. They need to find a ship, a spaceship, get out into the atmosphere, get out beyond the atmosphere, and send out a signal to the Nova Corps to try to save the Earth. So Marvel Zombies Episode 1. It was okay. I gotta admit, I'm a little disappointed by Icarus. You know, we were thinking it would be zombie Icarus, like the hunger virus, which I believe is what it's called in the comics. The zombie virus in the comics, the hunger, is strong enough to affect even Eternals, but it seems like that's not the case. Friday confirmed Icarus is not a zombie. Icarus is an inorganic being, so he cannot be affected or infected by the virus. I don't know, I found that a little bit disappointing. We all thought that Icarus, we were going to get zombie Icarus in this, which would have been badass to see, but no. It turns out Icarus is very much still, quote-unquote, alive and just heavily damaged after fighting Carol Danvers. Zombie Carol Danvers. And it also makes me wonder, where are the other Eternals? By this point in the timeline... Wait. I'm not sure if the events of the Eternals movie has happened yet. Which... Actually, maybe it... No intelligent life means no Tiamat, so in this universe, what am I talking about? In this universe, there is no events of the Eternals. The Eternals did not, you know, assemble again, and hey, in this universe, Ajax would be alive, so I wonder if Ajax would have been able to come up with a cure. Like, imagine if all 10 Eternals got together. Imagine that. I know Fastos creates devices and machines, but like, could he have created a cure? Imagine Makari running around the Earth, saving as many people as she could. What about Druig? Druig gathering together the last remaining human beings that are alive. Could Druig control zombie minds? Well, Cersei can't really do too much. Neither can Sprite. Gilgamesh and Thena, they would just fight off the zombies. Same with Kingo. So, like, what about the Eternals? I don't know, I was kind of disappointed by Icarus. He barely showed up. He showed up for like 30 seconds. He had no lines. And we were all expecting zombie Icarus, but no, it's just regular Icarus fighting zombie Carol Danvers. Damn it, I wanted to see zombie Icarus, because that would have been awesome to see. Oh well. And you know, I thought about this way back during the Marvel Netflix era. Wouldn't someone like Luke Cage be good in the zombie apocalypse? His skin is bulletproof, so zombies cannot bite him unless the infection gets into his in his body another way, like blood. Oh. Then Luke Cage should be good. Right? Luke Cage should be fine in the zombie apocalypse, as long as he finds food. I know you could argue the Hulk would be good too, but you know, he needs to be the Hulk and not Bruce Banner. I mean, for someone like Luke Cage, as long as he stays under the radar, does not encounter zombie Scarlet Witch, then he's good. As long as he can find food. Alright, there you go. All 4 shows have been discussed today. Next time we'll be a little bit more chill. We'll have 3 shows, because next time we won't have a Daryl Dixon episode to discuss. Why is this Giratina so hard to be shiny? And last one for tonight. No shiny. See you next time.